Awesome. Thank you very much. So, welcome, folks. This is my talk, Copilot in Fabric, AI Data Science Help Tips and Tricks. My name is Dave Patrick. And yeah, we really won't, it's a lightning talk. We're going to go fast. I got a lot of slides to get through, a couple of demos. And so we take questions offline. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I've got my contact info there. Hit me up on Twitter, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Here's some more of my information. So there's my email, there's my X, my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. I'm an MVP, MCT, ABCDEFG. I do a lot of Microsoft exams, hence all the letters. I'm a Microsoft trainer, MVP for 8 years in a row. And I do a lot of work in the Microsoft space with SharePoint, SQL Server, Power BI, all that good stuff. So I love to talk about issues people are running into, tips and tricks, find out what works and what doesn't work. That's what my talks usually are all about. In fact, let's get right into it and talk about how to get Copilot in Fabric and Power BI, because that's one of the greatest issues I found when I'm talking to people about, hey, I want to use Copilot, and they just can't. And the reasons are you can't use it with the free version, you can't use it with the pro version, you can't use it with the trial version, even though you might think you can, because the trial is supposed to give you access to all the features. It doesn't work. And so for the fans of the Cat in the Hat, this is the old, not with free, not with pro, not with trial, it won't go. Um, a lot of people are under the misconception that Power BI Copilot, Power BI being part of the Power Platform, is included in the M365 Copilot, which you pay $30 per user per month for. Um, M365 Copilot does give you a ton of stuff. It gives you what they call Biz Chat, which is chatting with Copilot against your own data, your own emails, tasks, and things like that. You get Copilot in Microsoft Teams, Copilot in Outlook, Copilot in Word, helping you generate documents, generate emails, summarize meetings, PowerPoint, Loop, all the places you would expect, except for Power BI and Fabric. So if you're trying to generate a DAX expression with natural language, like we see here up in the corner, you got to have the Power BI Fabric workspace. This is kind of what you run into. This is what people have been running into. They're going into Fabric, and they're trying to, in this example, they got a notebook, and they're following a tutorial Microsoft Learn, trying to activate Power BI, and they're getting these weird error messages. And I wish it does say it's buried in here, FT1, the wrong SKU in this workspace. It's not supported. It's not a very good error message. It doesn't. It takes a little digging into to figure out what the real issue is. So if you're trying to run a DAX query, or you're trying to have Copilot help you out with a DAX query, it's tricky. You go in there and you're in Power BI and you're in the back and you're trying to write a DAX query, and you hit you see you got the ribbon. You're like, whoa, hey, there it is. But nope, you can't ask Copilot, because this report has to be stored in a workspace that has a Fabric premium attached to it. Same thing as you're trying to use Copilot to generate visuals in a Power BI report. You're going to think you can do it because you've got the ribbon. It's up there in the ribbon. You can click it, but then it's going to come up and say you can't access. And again, it gives you like a link to find out more, but you have to dig in there to realize it's all about not having the right workspace. You don't. And here's my final example of when it doesn't work. You're in a data flow in Fabric, and again, there's the button. You click it, and it says Copilot not available. Check out the workspace requirements. So all this boils down to, and what do I need? You got to have a F64 or premium capacity. That's what's required to generate the summarized insights, to do the whole Copilot, help me create narrative visuals and generate reports and add pages and all that good stuff. Same thing for desktop. It's got to be against a workspace, F64 workspace. So what does that look like? That is going into Azure and provisioning a Fabric um, resource, right? So you come in here and say, hey, I need, give me a Fabric capacity, and it's got to be what SKU, the highest one, the F64 SKU. Now you might be thinking, Dave, I heard that's expensive. Indeed, it is. It's $8,000 per month. I think you can, depending on your negotiation skills, you might be get it down to almost 5 or something, but the standard is 8 something, and that's a lot. So But what I found out as a developer, I just want to play around. I don't want to spend $8,000 just so I can use Copilot and Fabric and Copilot and Power BI. Um, you can set this up. You can go purchase it. Say, yes, I've got, here's my credit card, $8,000, and you set it up. Then you go to so this is the setup here, right? This is where you go and you provision it, and then it's running. And then you go to the workplace settings and you connect that workplace to that Azure Fabric capacity. So that's under workplace settings. So provision the Fabric capacity, then go to your workspace and attach it to that Fabric capacity. Once that's done, Copilot will be enabled, and we'll show you some of the cool things you could do in just a second. But hot tip, if you're done playing around and you don't want to pay $8,000, you can pause your Fabric capacity. What does that do? That stops paying that $8,000. So what I do is I'll unpause it. I'll play around for a few hours a day, and then I'll pause it, and I'll only spend a couple of bucks. That way, it's way more affordable. And now I'm not spending $8,000 a month. I'm spending a few bucks here and a few bucks there because I only turn it on as needed. As a developer playing around trying to use some of these things, I don't need it running 24/7. I don't have $8,000 to spend on it 24/7. So I pause it and I unpause it. And I'm very religious about that. I make sure I pause it because I don't want to spend all that money unnecessarily. There's other requirements. You have to make sure your administrator doesn't disable it. It has to be enabled. It has to be in the right region. I mention all this because I work for the DoD, and some of this is turned off for us. So even though we went and bought a premium Fabric capacity, we still aren't able to use it because we have, for security purposes, we have certain things turned off. So there are some other, if you want to go out and you get one and you still can't do it, there may be some other reasons, some things to check to make sure that it's available. And of course, you have to be signed in. So I know a few people go in to use Power BI Desktop and they don't necessarily sign into the service. Well, that's not going to work. You have to sign in to use Copilot's there and you're in the desktop. You still got to you got to sign in order to be able to use Copilot. All right. So enough of how to get it. Once you do get it, and it does take a jump through a few hoops, what kind of cool things can you do? So in a notebook in Fabric, you can chat inside your notebook. So there's all sorts of commands to like ask questions about the notebook, generate code to work with your data, describe maybe a loaded data frame, add comments, fix errors, translate. You can configure your settings of Copilot. So all these commands are made available once, number one, you've got your capacity set up in your workspace. And then two, if you're in a notebook, you have to activate Copilot. So these are the commands. There's a tutorial out there, and I've got links in my slides, and I'll give you a link to my slide deck later. But there's links in there to say, hey, how do I do this? I run this, and then that activates Copilot. Once it's activated, I can chat. I can do the 7% chat and then say, hey, provide the code to load the sales customer table to a data frame and then show a chart of the top 10 customers. Bam, Copilot looks at that and comes up with the code that's necessary. So I don't have to write that code. So if I'm not a Python expert I can use Copilot to help me become a Python expert. Pretty cool stuff. Lots of other things that if you're working in that particular scenario, things like clearing your conversation to keep it clean, using the library to configure Copilot for privacy concerns, looking at the helpful prompts in the beginning, and then just resizing your screen to make it easier to read. What other areas can we work in? In the warehouse, there's a Copilot chat pane. I feel like this one's a little bit easier. So if I'm in, say, like the SQL Server database, I can then click that Copilot. And again, I'm attached to a workspace attached to that Fabric capacity. I could do things now like create a table to store employee data, use these fields. And then when I do that, Copilot will generate the SQL. So if I'm not a SQL expert, I can use Copilot to help me write my SQL code. Super, super cool. Copilot and Power BI, there's so many demos here to do. I can just start in the beginning and say, hey, I want to write a report. So again, using the Copilot chat pane to help me build a report summarizing the profile of customers who visited properties in the last 12 months. I can give it more information about what I want to include. And, I want to see customers and the demographics, where customers visit, from how long they stayed, types of customers and why they visited, things like that. It'll read all that and then generate the whole report for me in Power BI. So, wow, talk about, being a great assistant and helping me with that, Copilot and Power BI really has the potential to do a lot more. You can, and then here's just some sample prompts, like create a page to analyze the sales amount, revenue, and profit margin, generate that. Here's one for customer segmentation and loyalty. Again, I'm just giving it natural English language and just generate these charts for me. Here's one about effectiveness and ROI. Super powerful stuff. You can even have it edit existing pages. So here's one for accessing a page in Power BI and that, or an existing report and adding a page to it. So this one says, hey, I want to add an existing page, and you give it that command and tell it what you needed to do. All right, there's more and more reuse formatting, adding summaries, writing your DAX queries. The list goes on and on and on. I should mention as I wrap up here, you can also just go out to Bing Chat and tell it things. You can say, hey, Bing Chat, I don't have the money for the Copilot in Fabric or Power BI, but if I copy my schema and tell Bing Chat about it, and then I can ask Bing Chat the same questions. So this is just me in DAX copying a schema and then going to Bing Chat and telling Bing Chat about it, and Bing Chat can do a lot of what we pay for it's just not as integrated. So be aware, even if you're poor like me, there's ways around using Copilot, if maybe not right from inside Power BI.
Awesome.
Lots of other additional resources. Again, I've got a link to all this to my slide deck if you're interested in more information. If you have questions, hit me up afterwards. I appreciate this quick 10 minutes to introduce you to what it takes to get started with Copilot and give you a quick hit of some of the features in Copilot. Thank you very much.
Brilliant, David. Thank you so much, mate. And please do, there's a feedback link in the chat. I'll pop it in again in a second. Leave David some feedback. Excellent talk there. Thank you, David. Next up, we have Reid Schmidling. Have I said that right, Reid? I hope I have. Apologies if I've not. And have I got the right? Yes, I have got the right Reid.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Brilliant.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good, mate. You sound good.
I've heard worse pronunciations. You nailed it on the first try, so you deserve kudos. I mean, that was great.
Reid, you've got you should have the ability to share now, so you can grab the share. And we have got 4 people lined up, so you're the second of 4. We are bang on time, so they've got a little bit of time. But you can pretty much start when you're ready. You're good to go. Reid is the short answer.
Yeah, perfect. Well, everyone, happy Saturday! So great to be with you. Welcome to a great weekend. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for everyone, Brian and all the team who facilitated this and put this all together. We would not be here without you. So thank you. So we have 10 minutes, and I want to introduce a couple things that I've implemented at my company, a couple solutions in terms of leveraging artificial intelligence with data analysis in Power BI, and kind of highlight some of those capabilities and what you might be able to do, and kind of give you some ideas, highlight some of the features and functionality. So I'll do a quick introduction about myself, tell you a little bit about my journey, dive a little bit into kind of some different paths you can go down in terms of AI and leveraging it with Power BI. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Power Automate button, that feature in Power BI. And then I always like to give a few quick disclosures when I talk about AI, so I'll do that there, number 4. And then if you have any questions, I'd be happy to field those there at the end. But first of all, thank you all. I said this earlier, but thank you all for attending. You all rock. You're spending your Saturday, learning more about different functionalities and Power BI and the Gambit. So, you're investing in yourself. You're a rock star. So, and obviously we would not be here if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. So a little bit about me. I work in healthcare. I currently am a senior business system analyst. I construct and solution different Power Platform solutions. So I came up through, and I have a history and a long-standing history in data visualization, data analysis, and so on in the Gambit, but now have kind of shifted a little bit and doing more process consulting work for the company in IT through different IT services and such things. But I have a background in solutioning in the Power Platform, leveraging AI to plug into those solutions. So it's a little bit about me. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, you can there, or I do have a few of my solutions up in GitHub, so you can find that there. But outside of that, in my free time, love coming to these events and when I'm not taking care of my 1-year-old or tending to my wife, I'm watching soccer. Another match day again today, so excited for that. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to spend the most of our time on this slide, and I want to kind of go through a couple different avenues that you can explore, and then how you might be able to leverage that inside of Power BI to deliver greater insights. So one of the initial problems that we were having in my organization, we were collecting a good amount of data on user experience around technology experience as a whole. And we were gathering in lots of like natural text from users, gathering their feedback, and we didn't have a great way to deliver that. So that's where we leveraged AI in delivering those insights to our stakeholders. And what we were able to do with that is from the Power Automate button, which I'll kind of dig into detail on the next slide, we were able to generate a message through Teams to the stakeholder, and then they can then interact with a few prompts and then get that insight they're looking for. So let's say we have an application owner and they wanted to see, okay, what are my users saying about my application? They can trigger the flow from the dashboard directly. They can answer a few prompts, and then they get a summarized output of what's being said, how their apps being rated, areas for improvement, and so on. So that's what I'm want to bring to you all today, is to kind of expand your horizon. So have a few different avenues. That was what worked for us, but there's a lot of great ways. There's other opportunities and other solutions where you can implement AI to help deliver these insights. If it's if you have alerts on your dashboard and you want to kind of summarize that alert, leveraging AI to summarize that alert, summarize the data, and then deliver it, if it's via Teams, email, chat, whatever. There's a lot of different ways you can deliver on the insight side, from alerts, underlying data. If you want to send like a monthly summary, that's another great way. Or if you want to create a summary directly on your dashboard, you can do that as well. So if you wanted to, if you have like a nightly refresh, and a part of that refresh, you can create a workflow, summarize the data through an action in Power Automate, and then you can add it as a visual to your dashboard if you want to go that route. There is that capability with Copilot in Power BI. They do have the rollout. I haven't explored that one too much, I'll be completely honest. There is some, if you want to go that route, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind. Your data model has to be crisp and very clean. And then it's a little bit of trial and error, unfortunately. But a lot of the best practices that I've heard from Microsoft and they have shared is a very clean data model, following data modeling best practices, and then clearly defining your labels and accesses and titles. Those are like the real 3 points. But we've been testing that ourselves, and it's going pretty well. But we still want to test that out before we deliver to any of our solutions. And also, another thing we're exploring is creating custom agents through Copilot on our data inside of our dashboards as like another avenue of users and stakeholders of those dashboards to get more interaction out of it, get more insights out of it. So that's another route that we're exploring, is training a custom agent on the underlying data and then allowing them to use natural text to interact and ask questions of that data. So obviously you have a few different avenues. You have integration through AI Hub and Power Platform. It's subscription based, so kind of pick your poison, if you will. If you want to go consumption route, subscription route, you have a few different options there. You have the plug and play with AI Hub. Unfortunately, it's subscription based, but if you find that doing the pay as you go option, obviously we have access to OpenAI via Microsoft Azure, and you can create, there's custom connectors out there on the Power Platform where you can call those, or if you have another avenue you wish to do that, you can. And then obviously, Copilot for Power BI, they both have a subscription and pay-as-you-go option. So you can look at that. I think it's like 25,000 messages for $250, or again, you have a pay-as-you-go option. So whatever, there's the gambit, and you can choose whatever, works best for you. Okay, got about a minute or two, so I'm going to go through these last. So if you aren't familiar with the Power Automate button, I definitely encourage you to go check it out. Lots of great functionality and features that you can pull from that and create workflows. So it's a clickable button right on the dashboard. You just drag the visual over. It's a creatable button. You can now host it in any environment. You used to have to do it in your default environment, but Microsoft rolled out last summer the ability to host the workflow in any environment. You can add any data you'd like to that button. If it's any columns, measures, you also have the ability, there's a native action in the workflow where you can call whatever data you'd like. But to actually click the button, this is what I like to call it as that last point, is you must be an owner, co-owner, or a run-only user of the workflow. And that can either be an individual or a user group. Okay, and lastly, I just like to kind of just put out, a few things, making sure you're testing your AI models before, deploying them. I just like to call that out. And obviously, using different models, there's different cost consumption, so keep that in mind. And obviously, definitely keep in mind your data privacy and security. That's obviously very important these days. So I just like to call that out when I talk about AI in my talk. So that, I know, and we just hit time. I think that was pretty good on time at 8:30. So
spot on.
Thank you all.
Spot on.
Yeah. So I will hit it there. But I appreciate it. I hope you all got something for talk. Happy to field any questions if there are any.
Cool. We probably have got a minute for questions if there are any. I haven't seen any come through the chat.
Yeah.
But my question is, you mentioned soccer. Who's your team?
Yeah, so MLS, it's from my hometown, Sporting Kansas City. So
cool.
I'm from the Midwest, Kansas City, so it's home opener today. So I'm excited.
Awesome, brilliant. All right, Reid, thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It was very good, excellent. Here we go.
Are you guys able to see my screen? This was the exact presentation I presented in SQL Bits. So there would be some of the flying things here and there, but that's okay. A quick introduction about me. I'm a data professional with 20 plus years of experience, and I'm here to speak about Snowflake and how it compares with SQL Server. During our journey, we'll go through the key core concepts and architecture, and then how we would see that in our back of mind with years of SQL Server experience. Hey, for this particular feature, oh yeah, that's what we do in SQL Server. So that's how we would keep comparing and keep looking at from those lenses. So Snowflake considerations, right? How do we start looking at this thing? With introduction, what is Snowflake, billing model, edition, web portal, and then architecture, core concept. The data table structure, how do you insert and how do you do the data loading, unloading, and then some performance consideration and the security. So typically, not only this 10-minute talk, when you get out of this one and then you are here that, oh, how do I start my Snowflake journey? That definitely can be the takeaway from this talk. But you would want to understand various considerations. So this is the journey you would be going through. So Snowflake, what is Snowflake? It's a fully managed cloud data platform. Fully managed means fully managed. It is deployed by the vendor, no access to OS or hardware, or no component administration required. So that is the one thing. In SQL Server, you would be getting SQL Server deployed in cloud or in on-prem. So in a way, this is the cloud data platform when we talk about Snowflake, and in SQL Server, you get both the options. You can have it on-prem setup, that is how we live our life for years and years, and then you can have it in cloud, and any cloud, AWS or Azure or Google. And underneath, so Snowflake is fully managed. You don't have to do anything, but in SQL Server, we do need to manage some portion if you are in on-prem and comparatively less when you are in the cloud. Now, Snowflake is a fully managed cloud database. So what do you mean by the cloud? It is Snowflake, the big differentiator for Snowflake, it can run in Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud. So it is cloud agnostic. Now, the key thing is, let's say that you want to maintain a single source of truth. That means that your data is in Azure. You want to be able to read it in from the AWS and GCP. So with the one of the networking feature, massive networking capability that is called the Snow Grid, you can achieve that. So this is something like pure, because Snowflake is a cloud data, you would be able to achieve such kind of capabilities. Whereas with SQL Server, obviously these capabilities are not something seamlessly you can achieve. But there is a flavor of Fabric with managed database in Azure. There is a possibility, but not with the hardcore SQL Server side. Moving along, it's a data platform. So you get the capability of data warehouse. So you can see that there is some differentiation. SQL Server is a relational database engine. Snowflake is a data platform with the data warehouse capability, but behind the scene with some of the external table capabilities, Snowflake can handle relational workload also. And along with that, it's a data platform, right? So you can build your solution with the data lake, data processing, various app development capabilities are there. And another standing out feature with Snowflake would be data sharing, that you can have a data shared with various different external destinations, or various other destination can have a permanent data sharing where you keep putting the data, and it is not like the BCP in, BCP out, or like reading the file, right? It is a proper data sharing capability. For example, John Hopkins University during COVID time was doing the data sharing around the COVID like spread analysis. So that was one of the capability that can be achieved with the data sharing feature with Snowflake. Moving along, you can have, how do you start? That's one of the biggest things, just the real quick from this quick session. So Snowflake, when you go to the snowflake.com, there is a start for free. You get $400 credit for 1 month. Now, billing models, you can have different Snowflake editions, standard, enterprise, and business critical. Enterprise with the 90 days, that is the by default you would be having, you should be able to set up. And you can pick your cloud provider. It is, since as I mentioned, cloud agnostic, you can have it on Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud. When it is enterprise, the edition which you picked, then you get the 90 days time travel. So just remember this one, right? The 90 days time travel helps you to go back up to past 90 days and be able to do the point in time recovery. And at this stage, right, if I drop my table, and I have created that 90-day table with the capability of 90 days data retention. By default, it is 1 day. Then you go a little more, but you can, since you pick the enterprise edition, it gives you the option how much data you want to retain. Now, every table is not worthy enough, go all the way back up to retain up to 3 months, but there are tables where you want to retain. So while table creation, you pick that additional option. So now let's say that after, like, I'm doing something and by mistake I drop my table, or I delete data from that table. Any of those drop or delete data options, which I do by mistake, or maybe some whatever the reason, and I realize that, oh, that was a huge mistake, I need to recover. I can just with single command, I can go back and recover my data up to past 90 days with the enterprise edition. So this is the one another differentiator where we know if you drop the table, you have to recover from the backup, right? You cannot just get the one single table back with the SQL Server. Whereas in Snowflake, it gives you the one simple command and you can recover that option. So that's something like in latest generation, when you build, you keep all the mistakes we have had in the past with various other data platforms. And this something is one of the cool fix in Snowflake. Architecture. There are 3 layers: data storage, query processing, and the cloud services. The data storage layer, since it is a fully managed data platform, we don't have to do anything. The second layer, query processing, if you are a data management person, right, a DBA kind of role, then you have to bring this layer into completely in your control from the understanding. Virtual warehouse is nothing but a big block of CPU compute power, which it is giving you, CPU and memory underneath. Now, those virtual warehouses are for your query processing. That means that if you just start your new edition, if you just do the basic infrastructure management, you don't have to do the rebuild index and update statistics. That is fully managed data platform. It is managed by Snowflake. So any data security you don't have to manage, and it will not be causing you any bill or money, because that is not the query processing. So the actual application table select, delete, insert, and those kind of modification operation, you will be creating a virtual warehouse. That means that there's an additional command which you put that, and now though that particular set of tables would always use the compute. Now let's say one scenario. In the morning, I have a huge batch processing. I need huge compute power, but during the day, I just run 3 reports. So you can have 2 virtual warehouse. That means that we can still split that workload into behind the scene in the parallel processing model. Compute is, you can have the multiple computes addressing those multiple workloads. So that helps with the performance issues. Like, you will have less performance issues. Somebody else is doing update statistics and rebuild index, so you'll have less of those kind of issues. And then comes the cloud services. Cloud services, obviously, it is fully managed, provided by the Snowflake. Moving along. Data processing architecture, MPP, massively parallel processing, a lot of it sounds like fabric combination. Compute and storage is decoupled. If you have storage pressure, then you don't have to add additional virtual warehouse. It would be handled from the storage perspective. So that's one good thing. Here is another differentiator with SQL Server. We end up getting the new VM in Azure. If you're a VM in IaaS or in on-prem, you have to see both of these things would go hand in hand together. And Snowflake is integration with the cloud storage, which wherever you are, you want to put data into AWS or Azure, you can have the additional cloud EC buckets or your blob storage. As I said, virtual warehouse operations, select, copy, insert, delete. Real operation, you would be paying money for. Other than that, you'll not be paying money for cloud services or underneath storage. This is one of the important slide. How do you pick your clusters? Because it's a multi-cluster. If I want to have a big virtual warehouse, I'll pick the size according to the node cluster and the credits. Otherwise, by default, I can just have one extra small virtual warehouse with a single node, like a max DOP1 kind of setup, and then my bill would be minimum. My virtual warehouses, I do have capability to set them with auto suspension and auto resumption. If I'm not using that, it's not gonna cause me any amount in my billing. So that's how by default you get 2 databases, Snowflake and Snowflake sample data. Snowflake is your database which you get, where it is doing all kind of auditing. It is managed by Snowflake. You don't have to do anything. You get every information of metadata and the performance in Snowflake database, which you can go and you can create your own databases. So these are the 2 which you get by default. You get the worksheets, like Azure Data, Studio ADS kind of feature. Your worksheet you can share with people. It is always there with you. And you can have like any changes, any other thing you can share with your team. Table structure is micro-partition, which means and now in the SQL Server, still we can achieve some of these capabilities with the column store indexes, some of these capabilities, but not exactly that kind of architecture, right? One of the cool feature, and this might be the last one before we close because we are about to hit our time. Clone table, like now you have a database. You can have multiple databases. And for the similar purposes, like I load my batch, I can have one another schema assigned for that. During the day, I do my data processing or run my reports. Now, let's say that there is some kind of troubleshooting we need to do. We don't want to touch our main table. So what you can do behind the scene, your tables are small micro partitions. I pick that table and I clone that table into another table and make some changes. So you don't have to, when you clone the table, and let's say your table size is 5 terabytes, you do not have to make that clone table another 5 terabyte. It is just a pointer to another micro partition behind the scene. So you would not need another 5 terabyte of storage, and clone table would be like in a blink, you would be able to do that. Now, let's say you make some changes in your clone table, then it would stay with a different micro partition. It would not, so that way you can have multiple developers do multiple kind of dimensions of troubleshooting into their own micro partitions, along with the key micro partition, which are actually catering to some business, can stay intact. And then you can just, you want to join that back, then there are different processes and methods. But this is how it is one of the cool architecture behind the scene using the micro partition. You can create your new databases, you can pick your own virtual warehouse, you can pick your schemas, and when you create the table, you get your, you can see where that, which database it is referring, or any other query. That is how they use databases, right? And query details are, all the performance information would be right then and there for you to be able to see how long it took to compilation and how long it took for actual execution. You can do the drop table, show table, exactly like SQL Server. Then moving along, you do get similar kind of architecture for the security management, but you do have some predefined roles in order to manage the ease on the access control. But those are built-in roles. When the time comes to cross that bridge, you can go through around those things. So here we do quick recap. We do understand what is Snowflake, how the billing models and additions and the web portal, what are the virtual warehouses and data processing in quick 10 minutes. If you have to do the data loading, unloading, or some of the performance, there would be detailed sessions. There are YouTube recordings, or I would be speaking in future. So with that, thank you so much. The best way to reach out to me is via LinkedIn message. I do have latest account in Blue Sky app, which I would share. And thank you so much.
Yeah, because I come from the Global AI Bootcamp from Hamburg, did their session today as well in person, and talked about a similar topic. So it was not only Power BI, so it was the whole Fabric. So it was the AI power in Fabric. And the session today is about the power of AI in BI. So you understand Power BI, AI. Okay, and let's start. I have also a bit of demo, but first let me introduce myself. So I'm Catherine, and I'm managing partner at Yoda BI. I founded my company 2 months ago, and now I'm my own chef. And I'm also the founder of the Female Fabricator and the Power Platform User Group. And you can reach out on Twitter. I have also a Blue Sky account, but yeah, I will add this to the slides. You can find me also on my webpage, yodabi.com. And you can also write me email. You can go on my YouTube channel or on my LinkedIn channel. So I have a lot of social media channels. And yes, let's start with Power BI. So let's analyze what AI power we have in Power BI and Power BI desktop here specific. So we have the AI supported visuals. We see I can look into the camera and on my slide, that's maybe a bit better. Okay, so we have the AI support for visuals and measures. So we have 3 categories in count. And the first one is this. And we have the AI supported visuals like the key influencer visual, the decomposition tree. We have also the Q&A visual, quick insights, and smart narrative visual. As well, we have the extended analysis function in visuals like the forecast, the anomaly detection, trend analysis, cluster analysis, and time series analysis. Maybe some of you heard of it. And at last, we have the measure and definition where we can create DAX queries and describe the semantic model, the measures in the semantic model. So the next one will be the Copilot, big thing, and Copilot in Power BI service. For this, we can support users in automatic creation of analysis of reports, and we can also automatically generate reports based on the given data, as well as explain pages. So give summaries, executive summaries or team summaries and so on. And the last one is also a big one. It's the AI insights in Power BI in the Power Query area. So you can't find this in, I'm not sure, but no, not in the service. So it is only in Power BI Desktop available. For this, we have, for example, the cognitive services, which helps enabling advanced analytics such as sentiment analysis or text data, so image and text recognition and so on. We have also score sentiment analysis, analyze the sentiment in the text data, which is really cool. So you get from 0 to 1 account, which says is the given text good or bad. We have key phrases, which you can automatically extract from text. For example, you have a hotel page and you get some feedback, and you can analyze, for example, what words are the most common, for example, breakfast or the rooms, and then you can set the score sentiment analysis beside and see, okay, the rooms have a bad score because maybe it's always dirty or whatever, or the breakfast is not vegan or what. Yeah, so you can think of a lot of things here. And as well, you can use the language detection to identify the language which is used in this context. So you can also make a score of, for example, the Germans are very picky at breakfast, or the Britons don't like their rooms, and so on. And the last one is the vision, which is an AI-supported analysis and recognition of visual content and images. I tried this, and I used pictures of my cat to analyze if the AI can see if there are my cats in the picture, or if they see something different, like a croissant or so. And I was surprised that the AI recognized my cats, but I also did it or tested it with the dogs of my neighbor, and for this test, the AI wasn't very good, because they said it is a black spot, or so they don't detect the dogs because they are darker fur, and I guess that was the problem there. Okay, so let's jump in my demo, because I like demos. And you see here, hopefully you see my Power BI now. And I know this is in German. I'm very sorry, but I've done a learning course for LinkedIn Learn some month ago, and this was in German. That's why my whole demos are in German, and I didn't translate them, but I translate them now. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. If you understand a word not, I can translate. Okay, so these are the different areas. So we have the KI or AI visuals. We have the extended analysis functions. We have Copilot, and we have the AI insight. Could AI, of course, could test it. Didn't think about it. And you see, we have in the AI visuals, I have some AI visual examples, especially the decomposition tree. And I guess we will go a bit deeper into this area, except you say, no, Catherine, we want to say the AI insights, and this is more interesting for us, then I can also switch if you want, but I would start with the with the AI visual, sorry, and show you some examples here. You see here we have 4 different examples. We have, the first one is the key influencer chart, and which we can put in our data, and then we can see, for example, an increase which will be calculated directly. We can see also the top segments, and I'm not a big fan of the influencer chart, so I'm a big fan of the decomposition tree because you can go the way you want here. For example, if I make this a bit bigger, you see here we have at the start the sales, and then I go in year, and in the year 2021 I had these products with the following sales. So, and if I click, for example, on 2020, it will automatically show me the products for the 2020. And as well, I can also, let me see, it's not in the front, that's why it's problem here. Yeah, let me put it in the front. Bring to front. So, and if, for example, if I click on the plus, I can add some categories here, for example, city, and then it will appear the cities, and I can see the for example, the Maximus product UM80 was very popular in Milwaukee, for example, and I can also put in, for example, colors or yeah, what you want. So this is up to you. Yeah, I saw a warning about EEG key influencer because you would have to be able to defend a lot of statistic. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it because it's also a bit difficult to set up this visual. So the decomposition tree is very easy, so I like to use this one. And the next one is, for example, integrated in a bar chart or a column chart. So you can simply right click on a bar, and then you can analyze. So find where the distribution is different, and then you get those insights. So it's very, very fast and not normally. So of course, you know, demos are not fast in a real-time scenario, but normally it would here show me some insights. So now we have them, and he says, for example, rural with 42 of records, and we have urban, and you see also we have here a little switch where we can switch between the categories. We can also see here some other things where we get an explanation why the productivity here has this amount. I guess it's the sales. Yeah. So there's some nice insights, and of course, if you want to have it, then you can simply click on the plus, and it will be added immediately. So you have it directly in your report if you want it. So it's really cool. Another thing is you can also click not on a specific bar, but you can click on the white space around the bars, and then you can say, I want to summarize this visual. So then I click on summarize, and then it gives me a summarize. First, I have to choose between the custom. The custom is integrated in the Power BI desktop, so you don't have to pay for it. But if you use Copilot, then you have, of course, to have a F64, P1 or higher. So I use the custom one because this one is for free. And immediately here you see I get my my summary about this chart. And the good thing is, if you now click on one bar, you see that the text will change after the thing you choose here. So this is also very cool, I guess. So now you have a little story around your chart, and you don't have to explain it every time. Maybe there could be a lot of could help in some cases, I guess. So these both are integrated, for example, in the visuals. And then we have the Q&A visual. Of course, some of you already know the Q&A visual, right? It is very old. Since Power BI was released, I guess we have the Q&A visual. And let me delete this one and show you how you can get it. So if you were blank and you don't know, oh my gosh, how can I get the Q&A? You might made a double click on the background, and then you get here your Q&A area, and then you can start asking questions like top states by sales as table, and then you can click on play and then you get this as table. You can also say, oh, I don't want it, I want it as bar chart because I like bar charts. I can click, and then I get this one as bar chart. It's also very cool. And if you want to stay with this chart, you can simply say, please put this in my report. and then you have it in your report. So very simple, and I guess also very helpful for people who don't know what they maybe want to show. So give them a little inspiration here. I like this as well very much. And the last one I will show you, because we have not that much time today, Copilot, of course, in Power BI Desktop. We can create a whole new page. So I can, for example, click on suggest content for the new page. I know the model isn't very big or good, but it will find something here. And you see here, for example, a time-based trend. Okay, let's create a time-based trend. It's very simple. So you let's suggest or you get suggestions from Copilot, and then you can simply click on create, and then you get your trends here, your monthly sales trends, for example, or your weekly unit sold trends. And you have also here above a little filter where you can click on your month, and you can also choose the year if you want. So you have to choose the right year so you have some data in it, but of course, so that's how Power BI report build works. So very simple, very easy, very clean. And one cool thing, because I like this one as well very much, you can explain measures. So for example, I have here the percentage growth, and if I want to have a description for this one, because descriptions are also very helpful, so document your data model, and then you see here I get my calculate the percentage growth by dividing the difference between current year sales and previous year sales by the previous year sales. And then I can say, okay, keep that. This is really good. And then it will automatically put in here my description. So you don't have to think about what is the measure about. Copilot will let you know what the measure is about. So yeah, this is really cool. And you see it is very fast and 10 minutes can be long, but you see Copilot did it, everything, and AI in Power BI. So let me show my presentation again, because I have a little summary at the end. Let me click through this one, and here we have it. You see here, if you want the slides, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I will share also the slides for the Global AI Bootcamp there in my Git and give you the link for it. And here you see the examples are also for information worker, business analyst, data scientist. And I categorized it a bit here. For example, scientists are more maybe in the AI insights, key phrase extraction, also Copilot. Then we have the measure and definition. So some things you saw today, not everything, but it gives you an idea what is possible, what AI features are possible in Power BI. And I guess it was the end. Yes, it was. So let's start with the first slide. Thank you for your attention. I hope it wasn't that much and you enjoyed it.
It was excellent. Thank you, Catherine. Brilliant.
Before we dive into this topic, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a master's degree in business analytics, and I have a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's in business analytics from the University of Louisville. And I have spent over 6 years working in the field of business intelligence and data analytics. And throughout my career, I've had the privilege of leading AI-driven business intelligence implementation for Fortune 500 companies, helping them to transform raw data into actionable insights that drive business growth. So I am deeply passionate about the intersection of artificial intelligence and business intelligence, and I am excited to share my experience and my insights with you today. So my goal today is to help you understand how artificial intelligence can be a game changer for your organization and how you can, leverage it to stay ahead in the rapidly evolving landscape. So let's get started. So before we dive into the topic, before anything, I would like to start from the basics. What is business intelligence, right? So business intelligence is the process of collecting, analyzing, and presenting business data to support business to support decision making. So it's been a cornerstone of business strategy for decades, right? So but with the rise of artificial intelligence, business intelligence is undergoing a great shift right now. So today we will focus on 4 key areas where artificial intelligence is making a significant impact. So we have data visualization, we have predictive analytics, we have automation, and we have ethical consideration. So, these are the areas where artificial intelligence is not just enhancing business intelligence, but fundamentally refining it. So by the end of the session, you will understand how artificial intelligence is transforming business intelligence, the evolving role of business intelligence professionals, and how you can, prepare for an AI-driven future. So whether you are a data professional, a business leader, or simply someone that is interested in the future of business intelligence. So this session will provide more valuable insights. So let's begin with data visualization. So here we have a graph that shows difference between traditional BI and AI-powered business intelligence dashboard. So traditional business intelligence dashboard are static, they required manual updates, and they often lack real-time insight, right? So they are useful, they are useful, but they have their own limitations. So and the artificial intelligence powered AI, on the other hand, can automatically detect pattern and trends. So, making it much easier for users to understand complex data without needing deep technical expertise. So, for example, tools like Power BI and Tableau, they now have an AI to identify trends and generate insights automatically. Imagine a dashboard that not only shows you the current state of your business, but it also predicts the future trends and highlights potential issues before they become problem. That's the power of artificial intelligence in data visualizations. So this is not just about making dashboards look better. It's not about making dashboard look better. It's about making data more accessible and actionable to for everyone in the organization, from the analysts to the top executives. So next, let's talk about predictive analytics. So predictive analytics has been around for a while, but AI and machine learning are taking it to a whole new level. So artificial intelligence can analyze vast amounts of historical data. They can identify patterns. They can also make forecasts and make forecasts with incredible accuracy, right? So this allows businesses to anticipate trends, it helps them to identify risk and also make proactive decisions. So for example, in retail, AI can predict customers' demand, allowing businesses to optimize their inventory and also reduces their waste. And also in finance, artificial intelligence can detect fraudulent transactions in real time, saving companies millions of dollars. So the key takeaway here is that artificial intelligence is not just about helping us to understand the past. It is also helping us to predict the future. And in the world where businesses moves at the speed of data, data, this is going to be a game changer. So let's take a look at a real world example of an AI in action, right? So this is AI predicting customer churn in an e-commerce, right? So, but first of all, what do we understand by customer churn? So, churn is when customers stop doing businesses with you, and this is a major challenge for many companies, right? So AI can analyze customers' behavior. It can analyze the browsing patterns and also engagements to identify customers who are at risk of leaving, right? So it assigns a churn risk score. So here, let's take an example of this graph here. So it can it can um, it can assign a churn risk score, from low to medium to high, and flags it out, who are most likely to churn. But AI doesn't just stop there. It also automates the retention efforts, such as sending personalized discounts, also helping us to, we can use it to send emails reminders to customers. We can also use it to send loyalty rewards to high-risk customers, right? So the results are impressive. And I can tell you that companies that uses AI for churn prediction, I've seen about 20% decrease in customers churn and about a 15% increase in repeat purchases. And this isn't just about retaining customers at all. It is about increasing customers' lifetime value and also, driving long-term growth to the business. So another area where AI is making a big impact is automation. Business intelligence workflow involves repetitive tasks, which can be time consuming, like data cleaning, data integration, and sometimes we need it to detect anomaly. So artificial intelligence can help us to automate the stats, right? So, saving us times and also helping us to reduce errors. For example, AI-powered tools can automatically help us to clean and pre-process our data. So it can integrate data from multiple sources into our centralized based platform, and also help us to detect anomalies that might indicate problems. So this helps business intelligence professionals to, better focus on higher value tasks like strategic analysis, and also which can help us in making decisions, right? Instead of us spending hours and hours cleaning our data, they can help us to it can reduce the time spent to uncovering insights and also helping us to drive business growth, right? So the tools like Azure Synopsys and Google Auto ML are leading the way in automating data integration and analysis, making business intelligence workflow much faster, more efficient, and more accurate. So as we embrace artificial intelligence, it is also crucial for us to consider the ethical implications. Artificial intelligence has the power to transform businesses for sure, but it also has the same potential to cause us harm if it's not used properly and if it is not used responsibly. So one of the biggest risks is bias in AI models. So I have this table here which shows us the AI risks. We have the potential consequences, and we also have the solution. So we have bias in AI models. So if an AI system is trained on a biased data, it can produce biased results, right? For example, if a big tech company's AI hiring tool was found to favor the male candidates, so over the women, because it was trained on an historical hiring data that was biased towards men, so automatically that is going to favor more men, so favor the men, right? So we need to train on diverse database, right? So another one is lack of transparency. So if users don't understand how artificial intelligence system makes decision, they may not trust the insight, right? So this is where explainable AI comes in. We have what we call XAI that comes in. XAI is a technique which makes artificial intelligence decision more transparent and more understandable, right? So another one we have is data privacy. So data privacy is another major concern. So AI systems often rely on large amounts of data, including our personal data. So organizations must ensure that they comply with data protections law, and also implement strong data governance framework. So to use artificial intelligence ethically, organizations should focus on three key areas, ensuring diverse and unbiased training data. They should also use explainable artificial intelligence techniques and also maintaining strong data privacy practices. So with AI transforming business intelligence, the role of business intelligence professional is also evolving, right? So in the past, BI professionals focuses on tasks like reports generation, yeah, like building dashboard solution and also making manual data analysis. But with artificial intelligence automating many of the tasks for us, the role is shifting drastically. So today, BI professionals need to focus on skills like proficiency in AI-powered BI tools. They should also focus on data ethics and governance. Another thing is they need to understand how artificial intelligence works and how to use it responsibly, right? So, continuous learning and upskilling are also very, very essential. BI professionals should stay updated on the latest AI trends and BI trends. And they should also try to experiment with new tools, not just, just try to maybe little data here and there just to experiment on new tools, right? And seek out opportunities to learn and grow. So, and for the organizations, companies that invest in AI upskilling for their BI team will have a competitive edge in the data-driven economy, right? So the future belongs to those who can harness the power of artificial intelligence to help them to drive business growth. So, what is next for artificial intelligence in business intelligence? So the future is full of exciting opportunities and possibilities, right? Emerging trends, include AI-powered decision intelligence, augmented analytics for automated data storytelling, right? And AI-driven data governance framework. So for business intelligence professionals, the key to staying ahead is continuous learning, enrolling in AI and BI certification programs, also experimenting, like I said earlier, also experimenting in AI-based tools, and also staying updated on the latest trends, And organization, on the other hand, should invest in AI-driven BI tools. They should also foster a data-driven culture and also continuous learning, just trying to encourage the employee to continuous learning among the employees. Like there should be continuous learning, right? So the companies that embraces AI today are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, right? The future of business intelligence is artificial intelligence driven, and the best time to prepare for it is right now. So to wrap it up, AI is revolutionizing business intelligence in three key ways. Through enhanced data visualizations, through predictive analysis, and through automations. So these advancements are making business intelligence faster. It makes it more accurate and more accessible than ever before, right? So, but with great power comes with great responsibility. So, ethical consideration are also very crucial to ensure that AI is used transparently and fairly and also responsibly. So for BI professional, the message is very clear. So it is for us to like, adapting or, sorry, the message is clear, adapt or risk being left behind, right? So it's either you adapt right now to the AI powered tools and keep learning, or being left behind, right? So upskilling in AI and embracing AI powered tools is no longer an option for us. It is an essential. It is what we have to do, right? So my call to action for us today is to embrace AI in your business intelligence workflow, and also invest in continuous learning and experiment with AI tools, like I said, and also for us to like prepare for an AI driven future, because the future for BI is here and it is powered by artificial intelligence.